Hey everyone, it's Evan. I don't really like being in front of the camera, but here we are. This video I'm going to talk about 3 new ways to control good old Lego Interface A. And there's one of them, good old Lego Interface A, how to control this from a modern computer. I've made plenty of other videos about this, but a very, very fast refresher. This was Lego's initial try at connecting computers to Legos. And since I'm in America, I say Legos. Those who don't like it, tough. This was meant to be controlled through an Apple II, an IBM PC, a BBC Micro, Commodore 64, and some more obscure systems in Europe. And it's 4.5 volt peripherals, lights, motors, touch switches, optical switches. You want to know more, please watch my other videos. I have 2 videos about this, one about the history of the device and one about how to use it with some of those more common computers through good old BASIC, which is of course is in ROM in those computers. Anyway, so there's last couple months, 3 new devices sort of popped up simultaneously to control from a modern computer. And they're all awesome. I happen to have 2 of them with me here that were sent to me by the creators. So first we have TC Logo Connect, developed by Diego Baca in Seattle area. He goes by Diego Baca on Eurobricks, handy. It comes in a nice little case. I think it's a Raspberry Pi based device. It's got a little ribbon cable to plug into the Interface A. It's got a USB-C on the other side to plug into your modern computer. And it's got 4 Lego studs on top for you to attach whatever you want. The other one is Brick Interface. See, it says, I don't know if you can read it on camera, but Brick Interface. This one was developed by Nathan Kalinicki in the UK. Pretty similar size to TC Logo Connect, except without a case, about the same size, about the same. Again, it has the same ribbon cable header, USB-C, and it has a couple LEDs and a button that are used for other devices powered up and whatnot. We're not talking about those today. This is an Interface A channel. Both of these devices have been discussed at length in the Interface A section of the Technic section of Eurobricks. And there's soon going to be a whole devoted vintage Lego robotics section on Eurobricks. Myself and Alex Shepard and Toasty are working on that. So basically, anyone following that section already knows about these devices. This video is for the less than 100 people on Earth who care about this. So, and then there's a third device developed by Bliss. He made software called Lego Blockly, which is a standard software to control any Lego, retro Lego hardware, electronics hardware, and you use his software. But that device is sort of right now in a prototype stage as well. I gather he's going to eventually make one that anyone can get. They currently already have schematics out there. Not schematics, but you could take a microcontroller and build one. Not that hard to do. I haven't done it, but I understand it's not difficult to do. Diego is selling these on his website, which is tc-logo.com. And then Nathan is selling these. I'll put a link in the video description. There's a link through his GitHub. And Diego's goes through Etsy, I think. Anyway, this video, I'm going to have interviews I did with Diego and Nathan. Diego is going to reveal something he hasn't revealed before. Bliss declined to go on video. That's fine. But again, I'll put a link in. You can read everything you always want to know about it on Eurobricks. First, I'll do a little demo and show these 2 devices working. All right, so here's the demo part of the video. Going to launch TC Logo Connect first. First, there was a version that only did logo support, and there was a version where Diego let you work with Brick Interface as well. And I'm pretty sure Nathan is doing cross support as well, so you can either device of either software. Pretty cool. Then there was a version where you could put other languages in, and then a current version where a lot of the popular languages come already installed. I think you're up to 1.03 or something like that. So anyone who follows me, Facebook, YouTube, Eurobricks, knows I'm a BASIC guy. So we're going to go to BASIC. The default first port. Now this is a modified version of DOSBox, but use the actual original languages. That's Diego's philosophy, whereas Nathan's philosophy is you use Brick Logo that he developed. So opposite philosophies to create sort of the same bottom line. So 925 is the default first port when you're using IBM Basic. X equals 925. And then out and INP, imp, are to what will be poke and peek on an Apple II where I come from. So, oh, I'm sorry, how to have it. We'll do out X comma 1. And I have this motor plugged into A, which is spans 1 and 0. So you see the first port 1 is 0 there, so that motor's spinning. And this motor doesn't sound too good. Its bearings, it's worn out inside. It sounds terrible, but just the first one I grabbed from my bin. X0, I'm sorry, 2 rather. Spins the other way, and then out X comma 0 turns it off. You can do the same with lights, of course. I also have a touch sensor here plugged into port 6 there. If I do, let's see, if I do 10, X equals imp. I haven't done this in a while on an IBM. I've been doing it on Basic with peaks. I'm sorry. Shoot, I don't remember how to do this. Print imp. Okay, I got it now. X equals 925, 20, print imp X, 30, go to 20, and run. It'll show 0, and if I press this, boom, 64. So that's how we're doing inputs, touch or optical sensors through this device. I don't remember how to break a program in this. It's been a long time. I forgot the command for breaking a program. Is it escape? Is it control Q, control C? I don't remember. Anyway, you see it works, so we're just going to close this. Not elegant, but it works. And of course, you can control as many devices as you have USB ports. Diego was talking about up to 8 devices, which he picked, not arbitrarily, because I've done 7 on a real Apple II. So he picked 8 just for fun. All right, moving right along. So I'm going to disconnect his device. Disconnect that from the interface A. It's kind of tight, but that's fine. And then I'm going to plug in the one that fell, which is one. I have 2. Nathan sent me two brick interfaces. That's nice of him. So I'm going to plug in the ribbon cable. When Brian does this, he has production values are high. My production values are non-existent. Okay, I'll move the USB-C to this one because it's already plugged into the computer. All right, now, brick interface, light comes on there. This you access through a terminal. I happen to be on a Windows laptop right now, so I'll launch this PowerShell. I've already installed the software, so type brick logo, and we do connect to, quote, interface A, quote, give it a name, IA sounds good, and we're connected. And you can do talk to, 0 on. Again, the motor sounds terrible. Talk to 0 off. Or if you want to change directions, talk to, quote, A, on, set, odd, and then set even. We'll change that direction. Great. Talk to A, off. Beautiful. It's been so long since I've used logo. I don't remember how to read a sensor in logo, but it works. Trust me. I'd have to look at the reference manual. It's been a long time. And again, you could address multiple devices. On his software, on Nathan's software, you could actually address different hardware. You could do like one port be interface A, one connection be power functions or whatever you want. So that's really cool. You can mix and match those in your models, which is very, very cool. And I know for a fact him and Diego are communicating behind the scenes to do even more things like that together. Very cool stuff. So those are quick demos. Show you these devices work great. You can plug in multiple to one computer. And, I go to Brick World, Chicago, and Brick Fair, Virginia, and whatnot here in the U.S. They're the two biggest Lego shows here. Diego goes to the show in Seattle. I think BrickCon is also a large show. And normally, when I go to those shows, I bring my Apple II or a Commodore 64, an IBM PC. Now, if I wanted to, I could just bring my MacBook from work or this random dual booting Windows Linux laptop I have and not have to have a big computer. And if anyone says, what's this hardware? I can explain, well, it's meant to connect to a vintage computer, but I'm using a modern one. Personally, I prefer the modern hardware because it's fun for me to show it and it brings back a lot of nostalgia for people. But if I have a model where the computer's not important, it's nice to know I can use a laptop. And it's great to know I can use a laptop for development and then attach it to a real computer, a real vintage computer, only for demo purposes. So I'm very impressed with both products. They're both basically being sold at cost. No one's taking any money off this. Highly recommend you check out both of them. Diego and Nathan are both great guys. They both gave me a lot of their time. And stay tuned for the video. I'm here with Diego Baca. And Diego, you're in Seattle, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Could you start, Diego, by telling us a little about your biography, how old you are, what you do for a living, how you got into Lego?
Yeah, so I am 43. I'm about to turn 44 in like 2 weeks or so. So
Happy early birthday.
excited to that. But yeah, so a little bit of my background. I'm actually from Lima, Peru. I moved to the US back in 2001 for college and kind of just stayed here, met my wife, created a family here. Um, and um, I'm a designer. That's what I do for a living. I work currently in Microsoft. Worked in many of their software
Yeah,
programs.
I've heard
Um,
of them. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. They're just a little company. So, uh, but yeah. So that's what I do for a living. I got interested in Lego super early on. I remember, that being one of my first toys that my dad bought me. I always was like a big, I think it was like every Christmas and birthdays. That's the toy I asked for, and got that throughout. I think when I up to like I was like 15, and then I sort of lost interest. I went to my dark ages, and then I was always very interested in like computers and Lego. So anything that has to do that connects those two passions really interests me. Like one of my favorite Lego sets that I ever got was my dad bought me that. Was that the 8094 set, the control center set with like
You were
the
lucky.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was like like I remember I asked my dad for like one of the small Technic sets and he surprised me with this one. I was like, "What?" Like I was like
Yeah.
so happy that I knew it was like a pricey set, so I
For,
felt
for,
like
for me, the big memorable one from childhood, I'm 51, a bit older than you. For me, the big memorable one was 8860, the auto chassis.
yeah, yep, that was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
I never got that one. I was like, "Oh, I wish I had that one."
A little
But
before your time. Yeah.
yeah.
What was your first computer, Diego?
My first computer, so my dad had one of the Apple IIs, so that was the one we had at home for a while, and then he got the original IBM PC that we also had. We've always been kind of like a Mac and PC household. I think the first introduction I had with like Lego and computers was definitely like the Interface B. I remember my school had a course on like Lego robotics or whatnot,
Nice.
and they had the Interface B connected to I think it was like a Mac or something, and yeah,
Nice.
you would go after after school for like elective, and you get to play with all the cool like programming Lego, which I was geeking about. So
Cool, cool. So catching up to the modern times, I know you have a good following for your models you build, right? Um, First you did interface C like last year. Was it last year or earlier this year?
yeah, it was almost a year ago. So like the little box
Yeah.
here to control
Had you
stuff.
done any Lego electronics before that, or was the interface C your first one?
I had never done like any like like one of the things that I love learning things. So like I love like just getting dirty and figuring things out. And I had never done a PCB before, so University was like my first PCB I kind of
That's what
designed.
Nathan said as well. He hadn't done one before either. He said he
Yeah,
used AI to help him.
yeah. There's definitely like some like back and forth of like using the programs because I never had to use KiCad before to design PCB. So definitely ask ChatGPT on like what do the buttons do. Also, there's a lots of awesome resources on YouTube on how to learn how to use
Sure,
these
sure.
things. So but yeah, the interface itself is there's so much documents out there too, which makes it actually quite accessible for people to kind of do these things, I feel so.
And just briefly, for those who may not know, could you just briefly say what interface C is?
Yeah, so uh, I one of the things I wanted to do was uh, like there's so much stuff with like power functions, motors that I use a lot of that in my GBC contraptions and whatnot. And I don't know, like I've been finding more of like the controllers and stuff like less easy to find and just like harder to procure. A lot of us
Mhm.
hoard those things too. So I just wanted to give a way to like can I use modern pieces to make a controller that was similar to like the train controller but with some added functionality and more modern features, being able to like control it with your phone and other things like that, which I find it sometimes handy when I'm taking my models to like conventions and whatnot. Like I just
Yeah,
like
it was very well received. I know. Yeah,
yeah,
I have a problem with interface A's. I bring them home when they multiply.
yeah, exactly.
I'm sure I have more than anybody else on Earth.
Yeah,
I'm not
I
exaggerating.
don't doubt
I'm sure
that.
I have more than anybody. What's that?
I don't doubt that you are like
Thank you.
the
Yeah,
the source of interface
pretty
A's.
much, and also the cards as well. I'd like your opinion of something. So Bliss, and we know with a lot of help from Toasty, mostly Bliss is doing this open source version,
Yeah,
right? And your invention, TC Logo Connect, and Nathan's thing, Brick Interface, just sort of popped up out of nowhere at the same
yeah,
time.
yeah.
Why do you? How do you explain that?
I don't know. I was like so like amazed when you were like, look, take a look at this project. And I was like, oh my God, like one of the things that, how I do a lot of these projects, like I tend to do this like after hours, like 3 in the
Sure, sure.
morning. Like I'm
Yeah,
a
we all
night
have night
owl.
jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I don't know, like because like the code is quite messy and stuff. Like I usually try to, I don't put it out there. I maybe I should do that more. But like, but I don't know. Like it was
there's a reason I always show my finished models, never the code.
yeah, yeah,
It's like
exactly.
it's not I'm hiding anything; it's that I'm embarrassed.
Yeah, but what I told Nathan and I've told others like Bliss and Toasty too, like hey guys, just shout out to you guys, um, that I'm always like really open. Like if you ask me like hey do I need help with this or can you show me how you did this? I'm more than happy to like email you, write to you, share stuff with you. So
Right. And I
even
like
though
that while your device and his look very similar, the philosophy is very different because he's got Brick Logo, which works and he wants to work with all sorts of
yep,
Lego
yep,
hardware. And you said, no, let's use the original hardware, but just make a custom version of TZ Logo. How do
yeah.
you come up with that idea?
Yeah, like one of the things like I wanted to do with the little device was use the original software untouched as much as possible, right?
Mhm.
And maybe like other folks, I have an IBM or PC, like it doesn't work as good, but like I have it with the original IBM card. I also have an Apple II GS with like an old monitor connected to it, and I have it there. But maybe like many of us, like there's so many computers we can fit in our houses. So I've been wanting to be like, okay, can I still use the software, the original software, in a way that maybe is more compact, and use my modern PCs and at the
Mhm.
same time maybe clean a little bit of my office with all the computers that I have in there.
Right,
So that
right.
was the main motivation was like, can I can I run the original software unmodified? And I started researching like, oh, can I get DOSBox to be able to do that, and that's kind of where the motivation for the project started.
I see. Yeah, you sent me one. I plugged it in. It pretty much just worked. It
Yeah.
was super easy.
Yeah, no, and I think like for these solutions, like I'm always like interested in like just like similar to interface C and other things is like can I make it as plug and play as possible, right? I love the tinkering side and figuring things out,
Mhm.
but there's probably a whole set of folks who are less interested in the tinkering and figuring it out. And I've run into people sometimes where they're like, oh, I have one of these. Like, I don't know how to like make this function. What can I do
Mhm.
with this? And I would love to be like, well, if you want to play with it, here's a software that you just
It's
plug and
great
play.
because
Yeah,
until last month, the answer was pretty much call Evan.
yeah,
You know, and,
exactly.
and now it's great that there's options out there because my preference is the original hardware. I've
Yeah,
got my Apple II
yeah,
right over
that's
there.
great.
Um, and I've got a whole closet full of more of them. My
Yeah.
preference is the real hardware and the original cards. But like then Jason Merrill made a replica card, and it sort of
Mhm.
inched to where we are today. It's great stuff. You know,
Yeah. Mhm.
and I was telling Nathan, I guess this will be redundant because I'm saying it twice in the video now. Um, some of the models I bring to Brick Fair, Brick World. Some of the models I want to show off the computer with it.
Yeah,
Other ones I don't. And so now, if I don't want to show off the computer but still the interface A, I can just plug a couple to a laptop and put it aside. Whereas I
exactly.
also have the option of saying, you know what, this model, for some reason, I want to show the Apple II or the
Yeah,
IBM PC, whatever.
yeah.
So now it's great to have the option.
Yeah, no, I've gone to conventions where like showing the original hardware is kind of part of the fun for people,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like a
Which
lot
Lego
of
conventions do you go to?
yeah, I mainly go to BrickCon in Seattle.
Okay.
That's the one that I usually go every
Haven't
year
been to
because
that one, but my wife's some family out there, so maybe one of these years.
yeah, that'd be great. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, we
you
had
got to
a
come to Brookville, Chicago. It's the biggest one in the country.
yeah that's in my bucket list to attend. I haven't made myself go yet, but maybe next year I'll go for
We could
sure.
do. We got to collaborate.
Yeah, sounds good.
Absolutely. And there's a guy named Mike Lee who runs an event called the Vintage Computer Festival
Hmm,
Midwest. And he usually is my collaborator. And that event is in the same building, later in
nice.
the year. But he and I usually collaborate. So we'd love to have you part of that.
Yeah, that'd be great.
um, I was over the moon that you made it work with GW Basic.
Yeah, no, I know you like you like I read online how you've been able to like I think it was like seven cards, you run seven cards. So
And one Apple II, yeah.
yeah, so I wanted to be like, well, like, can I get it to run with that amount or more? So like, yeah, I knew you were like a basic fan and use a lot of
Basic,
your creations
yeah.
with basic. So I wanted to make sure that that was
Basically,
supported.
yes. I appreciate it very much. You did something just for me.
Yeah.
So how would I like Nathan showed me in his brick logo what to type to address two of them separately. How would I do that in yours?
Yeah, it's a similar way, right? Like I think like you're just addressing the address, right? So in the README file that I have as part of the, whenever you download, there should be all the instructions there.
Right,
So
the 925, 926, like on a real PC.
yeah, exactly,
But is
right.
it possible to do it in TC logo?
Not in TC logo. So the
Yeah.
you have both options, right? Like you have the plug and play. It'll start TC logo. Like the
Mhm.
software was never made. And again, I haven't modified. Maybe there's ways to modify it to support multiple. I haven't really ventured in that
Yeah.
path. But um, TC logo is original. It just supports one device. But if you go to the basic side, it will do the support, by having the different addresses.
Yeah. Now you show me how I
Yeah,
go into logo and then drop down from through logo to GW Basic.
yeah.
Is there a way, or can you make a way to go right into GW Basic?
I could. I think like one of the features I'm thinking next to modify is like maybe make a little menu in the
I was
start.
just gonna say, yeah, and you
Yeah,
just choose what language you want to use.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And one thing that I was planning to do is like I've been noticing too, like we have all the version, like different software in English now too. So maybe
Mhm.
I'll do the menu for like lines for, Logo Writer Robotics, TC logo, and basic, and then people can decide which software they could use.
That would be
And
fantastic. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Now you had me do a test the other day, right? Where I took your device and put it into Nathan's Brick logo and it worked.
yeah.
You're doing the other direction now.
Yeah, so like yeah, I've been connecting with Nathan, and like and it's just a matter of like supporting all other types of boards. So I
Mhm.
told him that I would give it support for his board also. So I just need to make that official. Like I want to run some tests. So he sent me one of his boards.
Yeah,
So once I get it, run a couple of tests, then I'll probably just release
that
it
would be
again.
great because then people wouldn't need to buy both.
Yeah,
People could just pick
exactly.
whichever board they prefer,
Exactly.
and work with any software.
Yep, yep. And
Yeah.
and again, like I said, like I'm happy to just keep adding things. So if anybody out there has ideas or comments, like same thing with like I do with the interface C,
Mhm.
like people often buy the device and then they send me ideas and it's like, hey, could you add support for this? And
Yeah.
once I get the time,
So the big thing that especially Toasty's talking about with Bliss's device
yeah.
um, is making it Bluetooth to your
Hmm.
laptop.
Yeah,
And so the device itself will just plug right into the side of interface
yeah,
A, no ribbon
yeah,
cable. It gets power from interface A,
yeah,
and it's Bluetooth. So it's
yep,
literally just a plug-in device to the side of interface A, truly wireless,
yeah.
cableless.
Yeah. So I'll show you. I
But
know
you got
that
to build it yourself.
I gave you a little sneak peek, and I'll do an exclusive peek for everybody here. So there's like is what I'm calling the
Thumbs
Sidekick.
up.
Yeah. So it's a little device that just plugs into the side, same profile. And the idea is like there is a ESP32 controller in here, so it will have Bluetooth. And again, the idea is like one jack to power both devices. The USB-C here is just for firmware updates and whatnot. But
Okay.
the concept is that, it'll be able to
You hold it up to the
run.
camera.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry.
What's
Uh,
that red button on the little screen for?
Oh, this is just to like do some functions. So there's a little
Okay.
screen that will give you the IP number and whatnot.
Okay.
This one is a little bit different approach than the TC Logo Connect, which is the little tiny box.
Mhm.
This one, I went more like I think Nathan made blocky, right? Which is like the
Blocky.
more or not blocky.
No.
Uh,
Brick interface.
Brick interface, yes. There's
How
so many.
nice of a problem is it that we're so overrun with good fortune here that we confuse them?
Yeah, there's so many now. So,
That's
um,
what a problem. Yeah.
yeah. So this one actually, I kind of reverse engineered the TC Logo software. So it's not running the original, but it's a version, like a more modern version. So this is doing is it's running a web server that has a web interface with all the programming environment in like in a web view. And so there's all these like more modern controls and whatnot. So I think my plan for this is like have that that version which has like autocomplete of code and it just like it'll make it easy to kind
More
of
like an IDE, you know.
yeah. And
What are you going to
then
call that?
this one is going to be the Sidekick. So
The
it'll just be
sidekick.
the interface A Sidekick or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I dig it. Thank you for
Yeah,
showing
and
me.
and the plan is to like maybe support, like there will be a drop down and you can be like if if you're familiar with TC logo and that language, you can program it with that one, or maybe another drop down will be basic, so you can change it on the fly and it's always connected, powered by the one connection,
And
right?
then was
So
that 3D printed?
yeah, this is 3D printed. All the
Yeah.
devices that I have are
Yeah,
all
yeah.
kind of
You
3D
did a
printed.
great job making it like the shape of the interface
Yeah,
A.
yeah. That took lots of iterations and stuff, but yeah, it's part of the fun, kind of trying it out and and getting it, as perfect as possible.
Wow, I'm very impressed. When do you think I can play one of those?
Um, let's see, like I'm prepping a release of Interface C updates, including like a little mini version of it
Mhm. And there's a
for
lot
the
more customers for C certainly than there are for A.
Yeah, for sure. Like I did and again I want to make sure that the audience knows that like a lot of this like cost that I charge in my Tindy store is literally just like the cost of the parts and stuff. Like I do this for a hobby. I don't do this for
Yeah, so
like
it's a message directed at you, Toasty. This is not for profit.
this is like with all the tariffs and all this stuff, like things are getting pretty expensive. So, but
Yeah.
anyways, like I pretty much just sell these at cost, and the time it takes me to like build them and solder them and all that stuff. But so I'm doing a big update with like the Interface C Mini this August, and then I think like in September I'm trying to get this one done in September. So. But I'll make sure if you write me, I'm happy to send you. I'm definitely sending you one so you can test it. Uh,
Tight. Writing it
yeah,
now. Yes.
but again, I'm happy to send folks like devices.
Yeah.
I love collaborating with folks. So
Oh, is there anything I haven't asked you that you want people to know?
let's see. Uh, No, like again, like um, I'm a fairly easygoing guy. So like if you have questions or ideas, you just send them my way. I'm super happy to like work with folks and hear people out and I love building with people. So that's the
Cool.
fun of it.
What have you actually built out of Lego lately?
What did I build out of Lego?
Because I was telling a bunch of people, I've said this in the forum as
Yeah.
well, and I read these, especially I read the Interface A stuff, and I read this post that goes on for pages and pages. Everyone's writing software and building electronics. I'm like, do any of you build Lego stuff?
Where's the Lego? Yeah.
That's what I
Um,
do. Am I the only
yeah.
one?
Yeah, I'm right now in the process. Like, I'll keep it a little secret because that one is my Lego creations are more secret, I think, than my software creations. But I'm definitely planning another GBC tower, and
Okay.
that one is usually I've been sidetracked by all these like software contraption projects, but
Yeah.
I'm definitely planning a new GBC tower. Like, so I had GBC Tower 1, GBC Tower 2. Then I
Okay.
did the Tron Tower that I took I
Uh,
think a year or two ago, and now I'm planning GBC Tower 3, which is hopefully even bigger.
all right. So here with Nathan Kalinicki, aka Mr. Hobbles. Why are you Mr. Hobbles?
Oh, that's a long story. Well, not that long, I suppose. Back in university, I went on a snowboarding trip with some friends. Ended up breaking my ankle, and I ended up hobbling around for weeks and weeks after that. So every time we went somewhere, my friends were like, "Come on, Mr. Hobbles," and so I'd end up, and it just kind of stuck. And I kind of adopted it and ended up using it as my online handle everywhere. So that's why I'm Mr. Hobbles.
When I was in about 14 years old, I had a bicycle accident, and the entirety of high school until I graduated, I was crash.
Right. Okay.
But I left it in high
Appropriate.
school. Yeah. All right. So I know we talked about it offline, but for for the YouTube channel here, tell us a bit about who you are. What's your background that led you to Lego and electronics?
Sure, yeah. So like by trade, I'm a software engineer, have been for years and years and years, working in different stuff from gaming to banking and that kind of thing. But ever since I was a kid, I was into Lego electronics. So my mom got me Mindstorms. I can't remember what age I was or that kind of thing. I remember they came out the first of Mindstorms. I've still got it here. And I begged her for it, and she went around all the stores and got it for me for my birthday. It was the single most expensive Lego thing I'd gotten to date. Everything before that point was like $15, $20 sets, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
So that's I think what fundamentally got me into robotics up until that point. But ever since then, I've kind of had a fascination with the kind of hybrid play between like physical and digital. So fascination with in particular like Lego, everything from the powered up trains, the Bluetooth side of things, to Technic and the Control Plus and power functions before that and that kind of thing. And then obviously I did a little bit of Control Lab back in my school days, but that's back in the history of my mind and stuff and that kind of thing. But yeah, and my thing has always been I hate seeing hardware become obsolete. It's all very well for software to become obsolete. There's always replacements for that kind of thing, but hardware costs money. It uses e-waste, that kind of thing. is good to keep around, and especially because we have these interface A, these control labs, all these kind of things. That why shouldn't we still be able to use them? So, and I know there's lots of different efforts with yourself and other to preserve all the original software that can be used to do it and that kind of thing. And my thing is, I want to be able to use it in the modern world. I want to be able to interface my interface A with powered up. I would love a Mindstorm sensor to control a motor on an interface A, or a powered up remote to control a power functions motor or something like that. So
Right, we'll
all
get
these
to
Lego
that.
bits and pieces, yeah, all these Lego bits and pieces together is like there's they should be able to work together. We should be able to keep them working for evermore. And so like my thing has been, if you look at my GitHub, I've got many open source libraries for working with different like Lego electronics over the years. But yeah, that's fundamentally my fascination with it for sure.
All right. What was your first computer?
Oh God. My first computer was, I think, a Windows 3.1 machine.
I'm sorry.
So I'm
You have my
quite young.
apologies.
Quite young in the grand scheme of things, I suppose. But yeah, it was a Windows 3.1 machine. I remember playing Commander Keen on it. That was one of the first games I played, which
Mhm.
absolutely I loved and adored. Um, and yeah, quickly after that moved on to Windows 95. But then I got a fascination with the more enterprise side of things, with Windows
Sure.
2000 and NT and that kind of thing. Even though at the time I wasn't a software engineer, I was just a kid. I was like, how do these things work? So yeah.
All right. So I think I discovered Brick Logo after everyone else, but that seems to be your primary contribution to the hobby so far. Is that correct?
I would say the open source libraries I worked on before that, kind of reverse engineering the different things. But I think Brick Logo is the thing that kind of brings it all together in some way.
Mhm.
Before that, I'd built like different libraries, something for working with Powered Up, something for working with Control Lab, and it was kind of like you need a lot of programming experience to kind of hook them up together. And so I remember back in my school days messing around with a logo and a turtle on that on the screen and that kind of thing. And I reading up on the interface A history and that kind of thing. I was like, how cool would it be to use logo with modern Lego electronics? So yeah, I ended up building Brick Logos, kind of like a modern interface for logo across modern Lego
Yeah,
electronics.
Turtle graphics were the first thing I ever did on a computer, except this was in 1984 when I was 10. I was
Okay,
Commodore 64 in school, and they didn't teach us logo, they just taught us turtle graphics.
right.
There was no
Okay.
Lego involved, but that was my first exposure as well to programming of any sort.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I think that was 1994. That was just before I was born. But yeah,
Mhm.
it seems like it kind of is a running theme throughout education.
So you made Brick Logo from scratch, or was it based on something else, or was it based on something else?
No, it's my own thing. It was one of the first projects I built in Rust actually.
Mhm.
I was learning Rust, and I was like, what can I do to build something in it? And so one of the things that appealed to me to do with Brick Logo in Rust was that unlike some of my other projects, which are like Node.js libraries or whatever, you have to embed them in your project, that kind of thing, is that I really wanted the aim of having a single binary that was just executable that you downloaded and installed
Mhm.
and ran. You didn't have to install it, you could just download it and run it and that kind of thing. And that kind of removes a lot of the technical friction from people working in the terminal who are not familiar with it or something like that. It's like, just run this thing, there's no other
Yeah,
dependencies. You don't have to
I'm
do
like a monkey at a terminal, and I just copy and pasted your instructions, and it just boom worked the first time.
That's
No error
great.
messages. It was a pleasure.
That's great. Yeah, I just wanted to keep it simple. And so, like, something like C, something like Rust is ideal for that. You can just build it all into a single binary that you run and it just
Mhm.
bundles everything together.
Now,
And yeah.
what generation is Brick Logo still on? Like Gen 1, or where is it at?
Um, it's probably coming up to version 1 at this point. I still call it 0.x at this point.
Okay.
But I'd like to get it more battle tested for sure before I call it version 1. But as you see, I keep adding new generations of Lego hardware to it for sure. I recently got a hold of a Cybermaster set from eBay that I've started playing around with and adding support for that. So it's in there, but slightly untested right now. Um,
Is that the one with
and
the barcode?
no, this is the
What am I
one
thinking of?
with you're thinking of Cybermaster. No, Cyber Command. I think it was the kind of truck with the
Cyber.
lift at the front that looks like that, right?
Yeah, but I don't have the barcodes you could
I had the
program.
barcode reader,
Yeah.
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 No, Cyber Command, Cyber Master, sorry, is the one with the tower that looks like the Mindstorm's IR tower, but has the two
Oh,
big
okay.
antennas sticking out the top. It's green. Um, And it's a bit annoying because it doesn't come with physical instructions to build anything. You have to use the original CDs to build something, which means you have to get it emulated or, whatever to actually
Yeah.
build anything. But which is a fun experience as it itself, a little bit of digital archaeology there.
Okay. Okay, cool. And then when did you first come across Interface A? Because you had no
Uh,
experience with 8-bit computers.
no, I mean, I've had an interface A for years and years and years, but never done much with it. And I think a lot of the existing solutions for it were based around like hooking up an Arduino, hooking up to the pins, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, and that was one of the other things is like every other piece of Lego technology up until now has a plug and play solution still, right? Even going back as far as like Control Lab or original Mindstorms, they're serial, yeah, but you can just buy USB to serial adapters and they work, right? So there's an off-the-shelf solution for every piece of Lego hardware except for two things: the interface A and power functions. And
Mhm.
so I've had one for ages. It's kind of been in my toolbox. I've got two of them now, actually. Um,
You don't
and I
want to know
had
how many
some.
I have.
I'm sure you
I
have
have a lot.
dozens.
I have like 15 or
Um,
20 of them, seriously.
that's amazing. How did you get those? Are they kind of like cast-offs from schools or?
Um, when 2016, when I first got into it, I went looking for them and then they started finding me. So you sent me a couple of these things, which I appreciate very much. You sent me a little padded envelope with a couple of these things,
Mhm.
and you and I were shocked how fast it got here. You mailed it on a Thursday from Europe, and it got to New Jersey like on Tuesday.
That was very surprising because
It
I
never
didn't
happens.
I actually sent it the most economical option as well. I think it cost me like $10 to send or $15 to send or something like that. It was super cheap and it got there in like 3 days flat or maybe even 2 days, but I can't even remember. But yeah, that was surprising.
Yeah, normally
Yeah,
stuff takes weeks to arrive from Europe.
right. I guess
Um,
they're fairly small, so they fit nicely in an envelope, but yeah.
I guess. So yeah, I played with it. It just worked. It was awesome. Very happy with it. So tell me about the little lights on the side. What are the two little the lights for?
So those are for power functions. I don't know if you've ever played around with power
I really
functions or
haven't,
not.
no.
So this is power functions. It's a battery box.
Hmm.
It's a connector similar to the 9-volt connectors, but not quite,
Okay.
if you're familiar with those. It's got a little infrared receiver here, and you can
Hmm.
plug motors into it as well. They were used in all the Lego train sets between say like 2010 and 2020, basically, as well as a lot of Technic sets and that kind of thing. But it's an infrared receiver based system.
Shouldn't be alarmed if these lights didn't do anything, right?
No, in fact, if you don't care about them and you want it to fit anywhere, feel free to snap them off. You just snap
Oh, I
them
won't
off.
do
I've got a
that.
couple. Well, I got a couple of others that when I had to do a little modification to these boards. There was a problem with one of the resistors, and I ended up scraping one of the things. So the infrared LEDs kind of became unfunctional anyway. So I
Mhm.
did end up just clipping them off, and so you can just clip them off if you don't care about them.
Oh,
But
no, no, I
yeah.
won't do that. I won't do that.
But yeah,
Um,
so they're infrared transmitters designed to work
okay,
with power functions. One of them is stronger than the other one, but one of them is wider beam. One of them is a narrower beam. So the narrower beam one
okay.
is stronger further. The wider beam one is more like this, but doesn't go as far. So it's basically to get maximum range for talking to power functions. So
So it's kind of
yeah,
like
like
in a Wi-Fi router, you have different bands, one for distance and one for strength.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
One's wider, one's narrower, one's further, one's shorter. But like I said, I think every piece of Lego hardware has a modern solution still for hooking it up,
Hmm.
except for interface A and power functions. So I wanted to design a board that was just plug and play and could interface with
Okay.
either of them.
And I like
So
that these are the perfect size for attaching to a stud, these two holes.
that was a big thing for me. I actually have a mock in mind for them, based around the old monorail system. I want to use the old monorail system, if you remember from the 90s.
I never
But I
had
want to
it.
use power functions to drive it, which are infrared. And so I want to hook these up to like stations along the way and clip them into place with these so they're not just flapping
Yeah.
around and like
These studs are good for like modern stuff. You put pins in them, right?
yeah.
But Diego put studs on his. So I
So
can
I actually designed it so that they can either fit. So, like for instance, here's some studs. It does just clip on normally
Yeah,
like a
but the thing
stud.
is, that
Yeah.
I wish I'm tempted to drill holes down the middle so it goes. I could put it onto a brick because your way
Ah.
you have to go on a corner or something or a single post because it can't.
Or one thing I did was that you could put a plate underneath it and just two on the side. So
You could do
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could.
Uh,
That's a good idea for future iteration. I could put holes all the way down
yeah.
for all the
I've
studs,
yet to
but yeah.
find the perfect size drill bit. I come close, but I've yet to find the perfect size drill bit to make.
Gotcha.
I don't even know
That's
if it exists.
one of the benefits of PCB manufacturing is it's
Yeah, it
very
would come down to
precise. So
64ths or even smaller. It's hard to find.
it's very precise. So thankfully it
Yeah.
actually is a nice bit of friction. You put it onto a stud and it just kind
No, it
of
does. It fits very
stays
well.
there.
Yeah, just not a
Yeah,
lot of things have one stuff. Yeah. Um,
definitely.
but definitely a plate with two pieces above it would work. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you showed me how to in Brick Logo how to address two of these at once. That's pretty cool. And you say
Yeah.
there's a limit?
I only have two interfaces. I've tested with two interfaces.
Mhm.
Theoretically, I can't see why there would be a limit. It will automatically detect as many as there are there every time you type connect to connect them. So that was I had to extend the logo language a little bit. Sorry for cheating a bit to kind of
No,
support
no, it's fine.
connecting to hardware and things like
Now,
that.
can I use
But
like a hub like this, or do they have to be separate ports on a computer?
I think that should work as well.
Yeah.
I
Uh,
haven't tried, but I think that should
I've got
work. Please.
all the interfaces I could ever need, but I'm not going to keep buying. I'm not going to ask you to send me any more of these. You already sent two. Yeah.
No,
Now
but
you were
please let
telling me
me know.
something. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say, please try as many as you can, and like,
Well, I
if
can
you
only
need
try
more, let
two.
me know, and
Yeah. No,
you
no,
can
no.
help me debug and figure out if it's possible or not.
Were telling me offline, you could do these over a network. Tell me about that. It's awesome.
Yeah, so I wanted to introduce some networking into Break Logo. Because if you look on, I've got a little YouTube where I put some experiments and some stuff on it, but one of them is using two Raspberry Pis to control a train going between two different things. And there's Raspberry Pis connected over network, over Wi-Fi.
Mhm.
Um, this was years and years ago, so this wasn't using Brick Logo, but I kind of wanted to do a similar thing where I could run a logo script on each Raspberry Pi and have them talk to each other and that kind of thing. So obviously Logo doesn't have the concept of network and it predates all that kind of stuff by a long way, whatever. So I kind of had a very simple idea, whereas as opposed to like fancy networking, all this blah blah blah, I basically just wanted to share global variables over. So you know how in Logo you can create a global variable by doing make name and assigning a variable to it, assigning a thing to it. If you do that, you can connect two instances of Brick Logo and they're just shared between them. So if you change it on one computer, it's updated on the other computer and vice versa automatically. So
Now, how are they talking? Like, what is the network over which you're talking?
so it's TCP/IP. When you run Brick Logo, you type Brick Logo to start it. If you
Hmm.
type Brick Logo dash dash host, it starts it in server mode. And then on another computer, you can do Brick Logo dash
Oh,
dash join with an IP
oh,
address, and they will connect to each other.
oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So it
So
doesn't matter if it's a wired network or wireless network.
no, as long as it's a TCP/IP network,
Will it even
uh,
work over the internet?
it should work over the internet as long as they're reachable from each other. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Now that would be a fun thing to try. I don't know if I have the skills to try that, but I might get some friends involved with that. You should make a
I
video
can
about
send you
that.
some very simple code. I after we ended up talking, I ended up just writing like 10 lines of code for on one computer, two interfaces, on another computer, two interfaces, and pressing a touch sensor on any of the interfaces activates the motor on all the other interfaces across both.
Now, I guess
Um,
the ultimate for me, there are plenty of hobbyists who make modern Wi-Fi solutions for 8-bit computers. You can now
mhm.
get a wide. There's something called FujiNet, for example, if you know about that.
I don't know.
FujiNet started a few years ago. It's an attempt to do a common Wi-Fi network among Apple IIs and Commodores and Ataris, all using interactive system. So how cool would it be to have, my MacBook and a Commodore 64 and Sinclair all, I mean, not all those computers talk to, but you could do some wild stuff.
You could absolutely. I have a couple of Raspberry Pis. I tested it with my MacBook as well. So I've tested it with three computers on my local network. I don't know about using it with like older computers like your Commodore or that kind of thing. But if you could find a way to get them online, then maybe. But I
Yeah.
doubt they'll be capable of running Brick Logo. But you
Well,
know,
fair enough. Yeah. That's true. I didn't think of that.
yeah,
But yeah, I'd like to see you make a video showing networking. That's pretty cool.
yeah, I could do that for sure.
But wait till after this video comes out. Give me a scoop,
I've
right?
I've had a thought of creating like a few like basic tutorials and Jimbrick logo with various Lego hardware on my YouTube channel.
So you didn't know about, again, I'm going to include Diego in the same video. You didn't know about him, what he was doing. He didn't know what you were doing.
No, no, not at all. I'd seen his interface C before, but no, his interface C is awesome. So I was aware of him for sure. But it seems like we come up with different, similar but different solutions. So I think his solution, he we were talking offline about this, me and Diego as well, but he modified DOSBox in order to
Correct.
make original
Yeah.
Lego software work through his device with the
Right.
interface
And you
A,
just
which
did
is
fresh
awesome.
software. Yeah.
Right. I think my aim was always to get it working with modern hardware on modern software and kind of bridge the generations, like I said. So I I see no reason that I can't make an interface A control a powered up train, for instance, or something
Mhm.
like that, which is the most modern generation
Yeah.
of
And I
Lego
think he talked to
electronics.
you off. He told me he talked to you because he had me do an experiment where I'm trying to keep it straight now because it was so many experiments. He had me run his device, I think, off Eurobrick logo. Was that it? Or was it the other way
Uh,
around? I lost track.
oh yeah, so
I lost track of
yeah,
what I
we were
did.
talking offline, and he modified his DOSBox solution to kind of work with my brick interface as well. So
Right,
we
right.
were
Yeah,
talking offline.
I
So
plugged your interface into his software and it worked.
that's right. So he's
Yeah.
actually sending me one of his devices as well, and so I'm going to add support for his device to Brick Logo as well. So you can either use a Brick interface or his TC Connect device.
Yeah.
And he has added my device to his DOSBox installation as well. So you can use either with that as well.
It was
So
great because I
yeah.
was in my man cave just the other day and I'm both of these things in my hands thinking, wow, I am the only person on earth right now who has both of these devices. As far as I know. Unless you sent one to Brian, battery powered bricks as well.
No, I didn't send one to him
Okay.
yet.
So I'm the only one who has
I haven't
both.
spoken to
Sorry,
him.
Brian.
I absolutely don't want me to be the gatekeeper of these devices as well. Like on the GitHub, I've published the schematics for this, the firmware for this as well. So if anybody actually wants to go out and make their own and upload their own firmware, or even modify the firmware and change it to do something else completely different, they can do that as well. I think there should be a solution to kind of get like these old hardware easy up and running and that kind of thing. And off the shelf device is an easiest way for most people to do
Yeah.
it, of course.
I
So
love
yeah.
that, your device and Diego's look the same on first glance, but the philosophy is very different. So
Right,
good stuff.
right.
Yeah.
We're trying to do different things, which is cool because it's like I think as well as there being like more than one solution for doing something. Like if I get hit by a bus or he gets hit by a bus, there's two
Right.
people who have a solution. But I
And then there's
think
the whole
also
thing
it's
with Bliss and when Toasty, what they're doing.
right, exactly. They're using their DIY solutions and that kind of thing,
Yeah.
which is awesome. Um, but I think if you want to use the original Lego software, there's a solution for that, and that's great. If you want a modern piece of software that can make cross the kind of boundaries between different hardware generations, there's that. And so I think it's great that there's a whole community out there doing this kind of archaeology on these old devices and getting them working again for new generations. But
All right.
yeah.
Anything else I haven't asked you about that you want people to know?
Um, by all means, please check out Brig Logo. Give me feedback. Give me try it out. Whatever your hardware you've got, whether it's powered up, whether it's Control Plus, whether it's a Lego Mario or Lego Dimensions toy pad or Power Functions or Interface A or Control app, please try it out. Give me a shot. I
Yeah.
would love to see kind of Logo enter the common vocabulary again, where people are talking about how do I do this in Logo. This would be so cool
Yeah.
because
Well,
one thing I've just
I'm sorry, you
I was
go.
just going to say one thing I've discovered is if you look at my GitHub, on my YouTube, I have like Lego train layout automations and stuff like that. And most of it has been writing code in whether it's like JavaScript or that kind of thing. I
Mhm.
found so much joy in writing this in Logo because the code is so much simpler and takes less time and
Mhm.
it just gets results quicker. So yeah.
Sure. So last thing, so Diego's selling his thing on Etsy.
Mhm.
Um, how do people get this from you? You sent me some, but how do people get this from you?
It's a good question. I will be on the GitHub. I'll be putting up a link, just a page where you can just buy one from me. I'm selling them just at cost because like this original batch, I basically had them to try it. So it's like, yeah, I think the actual manufacturing cost is less than $4 a board. I can't remember
Mhm.
exactly what it is, something like that. So I'll put a link up on the GitHub soon, and then it's like you can send me a little bit of cash, and I'll send you one for sure. But yeah. And
Okay.
I'll send you the GitHub link and you can share that as well.